I wanted to share with you that is in Management Organization Review, our journal, we recently, actually last year, we posted this call for proposals. And the theme is about technology and OBHRM in China, capitalizing on big data to expand organizational research and practice. So as I described earlier, there's like tons of data, right? Mountains of data. And these data is like a gold mine for researchers. And that's why we make this call for proposals to encourage people to dig into these data. They're all there. But as earlier, Professor Wang mentioned that it's the excess of data, right? So if you can build, connection with the companies like Alibaba or Tencent and so on and so forth, then they might be able to share with you these data. So I know several of my friends and colleagues are actually working with these companies, and these companies actually share their data with them, and they, of course, they publish a lot of papers based on this data. So in this particular proposal, the guest editors are Li Ning at Tsinghua University. Earlier, he was a full professor at University of Iowa, but he decided to move back to China. Then He Wei is at Nanjing University. Then Kai-Chi Yam, he's in National University of Singapore, and Helen Zhao is in University of Hong Kong. I want to sort of guide you into like what we can study using this data. We call it unobtrusive data. Next slide, please. Yes. So one is that we can actually build theories based on discovering unique patterns and empirical observations from this data. So for example, exploring the longitudinal trace data of employee behaviors can allow researchers to develop temporal management theories. For example, like big data and decision. How could enterprise use big data to make strategic HRM decisions, or the ethics of using big data in HRM, right? And new technologies, HRM, and Chinese culture, that is like the role of Chinese culture in the integration of new technologies into HRM. Is that important? I remember Wang Jia also talked about that, the Confucian values and so on. And then the third point, human resource management based on digital platform, for example, gig workers, flexible employment, all these new phenomenon to some extent can be studied using this data. Temporal theory of teamwork. You actually can see how teams work together from the beginning, middle of a project, at the end, all the dynamics, all the conversations of the meetings, and so on and so forth. It's all there, just like rich data. All right, second, next. Then also we can use this data to test new management phenomena prompted by new technologies. So we encourage empirical research that challenge, change, or advance previous management theories and practices in these emerging contexts that incorporate various new technologies. So for example, big data and precise recruitment, of course, talent management, talent recruit, training, development, all that can be studied from there. And also telecommuting, and employees' performance and well-being. Wang Jia also mentioned that. And the third one is agile performance appraisal and management, the dynamic effect of an agile performance system, because you constantly receive feedback, right, on how that would influence employee affect, attitudes, and behaviors. And also digital platform and employment. How does the psychological ownership evolve under different employments in the digital platform? Okay, next. So there are many topics, right? The third type of research could be exploratory research, because this is a new phenomenon. So we encourage the empirical exploration of an organization's internal non-obtrusive data, for example, Alibaba or Tencent, or smaller companies like Yushen, right? To unravel the efficacy of and all problems associated with the utilization of new technology-based HRM practices in Chinese firms. These exploratory studies are encouraged to use some advanced data analytic methods and platforms, such as machine learning, digital voice video systems, and the internal email system that can actually help you to do a lot of content analysis or emotion analysis, network connection, teamwork analysis, and so on and so forth. So this is one special issue that we are developing, starting from call for proposal, and related to the Chinese organization in general. We have more actually special issues coming up. I think someone, maybe either Lian Bing or Wang Jia, talked about the new like ventures, right? Or smaller tech ventures. So we have one special issue on Chinese technology ventures in the digital era in terms of strategic leadership, decision-making processes, and governance. And this group of guest editors is also from all over the world. So Wei Tian from Fudan University, Wei Liqing from Hong Kong Baptist University, and Franz Kellerman from US, North Carolina, Charlotte, and Wang Taiyuan and Igor, they are from CEIBS and King's College London. And this is about, in Chinese, it's called 科创企业. So they start business using like patent, right? Or they develop patents in certain area of technology, and they then start a venture based on that. And there's, because in the past, a lot of ventures are not non-tech related. So these ventures are new in the sense that most of their founders are like trained in technology and science. They know very little about management or strategic decision-making, leadership, and so on and so forth. So this special issue will focus on these issues. If you're interested in learning more, I also provided the link to our website, so you can read the whole call for proposal, then decide whether your research fits this area, and you can submit your work to this special issue. The next one is on Chinese SOEs, state-owned enterprises. Currently, and this group of guest editors is also from many different continents, right? China, US, Singapore, and so on. So this is about SOEs because SOEs are so important in China today, account for nearly a quarter of Fortune Global 500 corporations, and play, of course, increasingly important roles in the global economy. But only limited research has examined the Chinese SOEs in depth, which means that most of the research published in current journals are about whether this enterprise is SOE or non-SOE. Then we see, oh, there are differences. But what about SOE itself? There's a huge heterogeneity among the SOEs, and to what extent the different portion of state versus private or different shares would influence the processes and the outcomes and the innovation and so on and so forth. So this is another special issue that we are working on, and this is a call for proposals.